David Haye. David, you've just finished the press conference of your announcement for your next fight against Arnold Gjergjaj. Think of those, right?
I don't know. I don't know. I haven't even tried to learn what his second name is.
One of the highlights of the press conference was Mr. Shannon Briggs' common gate crash.
Which has nothing to do with his next fight, but okay, yeah, I go.
But I just want to ask you, was there any negotiations with his team before?
Who?
Shannon Briggs?
No negotiations with Shannon Briggs prior to this fight. My stipulations for this next opponent that I gave to my team was I want someone taller than me, I want someone with an unbeaten record, and I want someone who's in their prime, you know, and he ticked all those boxes. You know, obviously this fight isn't on pay-per-view platform, it's not on a big satellite network, so technically I don't even have any TV yet for this fight, so it's a non-TV show, so the budget isn't really there to get some of these big massive names over, because they all want a big cash out paycheck, and that's not there for him at the moment. And he ticked all the boxes. You know, he's taller than me, unbeaten record in his prime. You know, he's looks the part. So I'm looking forward to an exciting fight. You know, a few of the people who was at Heyday 1 and watched it on TV would have liked to have seen a little bit more action. You know, the first time I landed a big combination, the fight was effectively over. So people want to see a bit more drama. They want to see, you know, someone punching back a little bit more, and this guy is definitely going to do that. You know, he's not coming to lie down. You know, if you know what this guy took to come over here, you'll know that he's coming over because he believes he can win, and then he's going to go on, and then it's an investment in himself. He's rolling the dice. You know, if he beats me, he can then go and fight any of the world champions and earn, you know, mega money. But he's willing to come over here for not pay-per-view money to prove a point, and whenever he gets an unbeaten fighter willing to do that, you know he's confident.
The fact that he's relatively unknown on these shows, does that make him sort of unpredictable?
I don't know what he's going to do. All I know is the brief we got from him is he's got fast hands, he moves his feet, he doesn't stand there like your typical Eastern European fighter with your hands up just taking punches. No, he's actually got quite low held hands, he moves around, and he's quite awkward apparently. So I haven't seen much of him. I've leave that to Shane McGuigan, my coach, to look into his style and the best way to break him down. But Shane and I are training for a tough 10-round fight. We're looking for training to do 10 hard rounds. If it gets knocked out earlier, all good and well. But I'm just training for a tough fight. You know, to expect any less would be foolish. So I'm looking at pushing myself and being in great condition to get the best out of myself.
David Razaban for FightHype. You've obviously had Heyday 1, we're now Heyday 2 in May, so two fights in 5 months. Hoping you come out of this fight successfully. Do you expect to fight a couple more times this year?
Ideally, in an ideal world, you know, I don't want to look too far into the future, but you know, looking at a potential schedule, I'd love that. I'd love to fight 2 more times this year. There's been many years since I've had 4 fights in 1 year. Normally, if you look at my record, fighting once a year would have been a good schedule for myself. But to fight 4 times a year, to even fight twice in a year is a big thing. If you look back at my record and how infrequently I fought, you know, I'm definitely going in the right direction. So after this fight, hopefully, fingers crossed, I get the victory. I'm not injured, no cuts, no broken hands. I'm then going to look to get back in there as soon as possible again.
I know One Eye next week will be on the big IBF.
Both eyes will be on. That's a huge fight. You know, Anthony Joshua is looked unbeatable. You know, he's 15 fights, 15 wins. He's a big guy. He's in physically perfect condition, and you know, I'm really backing him to beat Charles Martin. Charles Martin's a very good fighter in his own right, untested, unproven. You know, no real amateur credentials to pick from. But the word around the campfire, the word from my friends over in the States is this guy ain't no joke. This guy can fight. You know, people whose opinion that I trust are saying, listen, this guy ain't coming over to get knocked out by any Joshua. Believe me, this guy's a serious dude. You know, he's done time in prison. He's a serious dude. This guy's not to be taken lightly. So, with that being said, we might have an interesting fight on our hands. You know, this is not some guy coming over to cash out against Anthony Joshua and hand over his IBF title. This guy will fight to the bitter end, and if that's the case, we've got ourselves a great fight on the Sky box office on April 9th.